Hi, how are you? Hola, mi amigas and mi amigos, mi amizers. How y'all doing? You hanging in there? You having good weeks, huh? Finally got my daughter to sleep. I should probably tone it down. She's sick right now. As a parent, there's no more of a helpless feeling when your child is sick. And this is kind of our first bout with a real actual sickness, high fever. Had to take her into the ER. And of course got told what we already knew. Child's ibuprofen every 7 hours. Give her some old Tylenol every 4. Lots of water, lots of fluids. Maybe water down some of that Gatorade. Yeah, nice little $2,000 bill just to hear what I already knew. No, it's better to be safe than sorry. And as a parent, you're trying to be a walking safety pin. You're trying to hone it in, make sure my child is okay, and then finding that happy balance where if she falls off of a park bench, I'm not over there rushing to be a helicopter parent and cloud her and ask her if she's okay. No. If she falls, I tell her, you're all right. You're okay. I instill strength into her. And I'm not freaking her out by being an overly anxious, worrying parent. It's a game of psychology. And when you listen to these specialists who have worked with thousands of families and actually done the studies, the dynamic is there. It's same thing with raising a dog. Bill Burr has a great joke about it. If you're overly anxious around your dog screaming at the TV watching a football or basketball game, your dog is going to think that it needs to go kill. It needs to go to bat for dad. Same thing with children, man. There's something about the connectivity between our hearts when we have an overly anxious beat going on. It gets instilled in our children. And that's the importance of instilling calmness and letting them know that everything is okay. You're going to be all right. It'll all be over soon. And as children, we don't quite understand that because we've all been that little rugrat in a car. Impatient. Drives to the cities used to seem like they took 4.5 hours. You know, time passed by so slow. But as you get older, it's our duty to understand the power of time and that we can instill the moment into our children, that in this moment it is all okay. Stop worrying. Life goes on. And the more and more I tell my daughter that as life goes on, I'm going to instill in her calmness, patience, momentary opportunity where she's not taking this moment for granted. She's looking at it as an opportunity. This episode was one of those opportunities. Something told me that I needed to talk to Ashley. Something told me that whatever came through in this conversation was meant to come through. No hiccups, no doubt. Roll with the punches. Typically going into a podcast, I have a macro blueprint that I take into it. The night before, I got this feeling that this conversation was meant to happen, and it was a strong feeling. It was one of those feelings that I got to go into it knowing Ashley and I were both about to be helping each other with whatever was going to come about. And that is certainly what happened. I can't thank Ashley Dubose enough. She is a high spirit. She is a human being walking this planet where she just radiates love. And she is someone who is down for the count completely. Her family's beautiful. She is beautiful. Her voice is beautiful. What she radiates is beautiful. Her alien forces she's sending out into the vibrational wavelength of the planet. Yeah, high vibes with Ashley. We are very lucky. You can check her out. Sign up for her newsletter, her email newsletter. Very inspirational, I'm not going to lie. And you get to tap into some of her upcoming dates as well. I first heard of her on a song with Prof on Pookie Baby. And the song's called Be Around. But my favorite song of Ashley, and you'll hear this in the episode, is called Be You. It's, go to her Spotify. Go to Ashley Dubose, Dubose, and I think it's the 5th song down. Go check it out. It's really dope. I can't thank Ashley enough. I want to thank some of our upcoming partners for this Friday at the Castle with Prof, Cashanova, Macker, Willy Wonka. Let's go down the list. All-Star Basements, one of our presenting partners. Also, Fulton Beer. Thank you, Fulton. Thank you to Cameo. Thank you to Northern 19. They have a big revamp coming up. Who else? Soltara Retreat Center. Thank you. Ryan Fro at RF Print Design. Used to be RF Print Design. Now it's Vision Graphics. Who else? Oh, P-Rock Studios. Oh, we got a big announcement coming up with them here in the near future. Ryan Utterback, he's the man. Stop in there someday and ask him about his glory days playing in bands out in Los Angeles, the Viper Room. Let's just say that man's had some run-ins. All right, who else we got? I'm trying to go down my memory bank and it ain't cashing in. Also, obviously, My Town, My Music. Great link up there. Love me some My Town, My Music. My man Luke Austin at Sacred Heart Studios. Sick tattoo artist. He's going to be inking me up again this Sunday. Shout out to my man Thaddeus Owen. Him and I have a new show coming out called Dumb It Down. I'm very excited about that one. It'll be a seasonal drop. So what that means is it's not going to be like weekly episodes. We're going to do an 8-episode drop, probably every couple months, and then it'll be a kind of a binge listen for you. So you can just get it all at once and you don't have to wait on weekly drops. That's a very exciting show we've got coming up. And then obviously, me and my boy Brandon, Mr. Social Butterfly, are working on something too. So the future is bright. I can't thank you all enough. Ashley Dubose, one of the most beautiful spirits ever. Let's figure out what we're going to name the episode right now. We could call it Synchronicity because that was a heavy focus in this episode. We'll call it Synced Up. Synced Up with Ashley Dubose. Enjoy the show. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the sicko sponsor. Jeff Shupe at Shad Tracy Signs made us these incredible blue light signs. They're incredible. I don't know what more to say. You'll see them on the Instagram. We're going to start rolling these out at events. They're so sick. They are so sick. And what we do is we're going to start implementing healing blue light and red light technology inside of them. So the whole point is you put them in your office where you don't get a lot of sunlight. All the while, you'll still be getting the healthy light that typically we get from the sun while working at your desk. So stay tuned. Keep up to date with everything we're doing. That's another business we're going to be rolling out. So needless to say, the astronauts are busy. Much love. Enjoy the show.
Yes, I know how it feels to be on the outside looking in. own swag, your own style, your own thing, and baby, that's cool. It's written in the stars. You're supposed to be who you are. So do your thing, do your thing, do you. It's okay to be you. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, do your thing, yeah. 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 Do your thing, do your thing. It's okay to be you. You are different, yeah. Ain't like none of them. You got your own swag, you got your own, you got your own, and baby, that's cool. Yeah. It's written in the stars. You're supposed to be who you are, change who you are. No, do your thing, do your thing, do you. It's okay to be you.
I'm gonna be high as a fucking man.
And now, the stationary astronaut.
Ashley Dubose.
Ashley Dubose.
I wish you just had one of those things over the E so I could just call you Dubose.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Ashley Dubose.
Hey, it's never too late.
Never too late. Or Ashley Dubois. I probably should take my retainer out. Nah, I'm gonna keep it.
Keep talking. I want to make sure I get your levels.
Check.
Why my headphones are so stupid?
Check.
Give me those headphones.
I have some beats if you.
Switcheroony. Check.
Mm-hmm.
Cam.
Like my Target runs.
Yeah.
You go to Target for just a few things and you come out with a whole shopping cart full.
You leave with everything. I always leave. Lately, I've been leaving with all the lotion. I don't just stop with one lotion. I get like 4 different kinds.
You can never have too much lotion. You really can't. I can't. I can never have enough. Huh? Yeah, could you? Thank you.
You heard it here first. So you just got back from New York.
Yes, I did.
What were you doing out there?
You know what? I didn't know, like, I go on these gigs. I sing with a cover band, and we do stuff like, we're always flying all over doing mainly weddings, but different corporate events and private parties and stuff. And so this weekend, it was the 60th birthday for Mark, and his last name I'm forgetting, but he's like the chairman of, or the chair of Lionsgate Entertainment.
Yo.
Like, I was like, I didn't know that's who. We was at his party. What? I mean, I knew these people were very affluent. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it was beautiful. We got to, it was a different vibe than we normally, we're a dance band, but we'll like provide the entertainment for dinner. So we'll slow it down and like rotate solos. But then once the party gets like revved up or whatever, it's 4 to 5 frontmen and a full 4 to up to like last night we had strings, not last night, this weekend. So 3 violins. So it's up to like a 9-10 piece band sometimes behind us. And it's like hours of just rotating solos and singing backup, and so that's the kind of thing we normally do. But this weekend, it was just his birthday party, and we were providing like background music, and we turned up at like the very end, but we were all on stools and kind of like a jazzy nightclub feel. It was nice.
See, and that's the look in certain circumstances. In like with do you guys do galas and stuff like that?
It kind of, well, I do galas with my like as Ashley Dubose in my own band. I've done quite a few. But normally it's gala style where like you're keeping the party on the dance floor. But that's the weddings normally are like that.
Aren't fly out gigs fun?
Yes.
It's always an
It's
experience.
nice to get out and like I like, you know what? The crazy thing is I used to be so afraid of flying. And I mean, I still get a little nervous. But with this gig, I've flown like so much over the last 5 years that I've been with them. And it's gotten me over my fear of flying. And I actually look forward to, how some people kind of gripe over the process of like checking in at the airport and going through security and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I like that.
I know.
And taking off and landing. I like the whole, just that alone.
Now that they let you fly with weed, I don't stress it at all.
They let you fly with weed now?
Of course.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you? I threw $50 worth of edibles out in Colorado because I thought we couldn't. I was like, I don't want to go to jail. I'm like, no. They're like, just put it back. I'm like, no. So, yeah.
Golden, especially if you fly out of California as well. They don't even.
When did this
They don't
happen?
even bug. Honestly, it happened as people started getting more confident.
Oh, because they were like, you can't stop all. You can't put
Yeah,
everybody
you can't
in.
stop all of us.
That's
you know,
the key to any kind of revolution.
be confident.
Yeah.
So
In numbers. Strength in numbers.
strength in numbers.
Yeah.
We can't be stopped, mother sucker. Okay, so
Cameron's giving me the
Cameron's
the
like,
mom eye.
Mom, did you say edibles out loud? Hey, we bring you to Disney World, lady.
She's on spring break. She's not skipping school.
You're on spring break, lady. You got the hookup. You get all the candy, just not the special candy. Okay, so did you like singing like church choruses like growing up, or like what got your groove going?
I would like at a very young age when I was 7 and 8. I was in like the Sunshine Band. I think they call it the Sunshine Choir. It's like the little kid choir. Nothing crazy. I didn't really start tapping into like performing and singing until my junior year of high school. I did a few talent shows throughout the years in junior high, and my first talent show was in 6th grade. I was 11 years old. Yeah. And then from there, it was kind of spotty. But then once I got to 11th grade, I met a little, I'll say little girl. I met a friend named Imani, and her mom, they would travel, like tour the city and do events and stuff and perform. And they asked me to come and sing with them. And they gave me a few leads, but I was singing mainly backgrounds, and they paid me for it. So I was like, oh, cool, I'm getting paid to sing. So that was kind of when I started performing. Oh, that's my performance journey in a nutshell.
Yeah. So did you go to any art schools or anything like that?
No, I didn't. I was in band, but I went to a traditional public school all throughout, from kindergarten through high school.
Yeah. So like you're the outlier then.
How so? Oh, because like I don't have any like.
You're getting paid to fly out.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, God is good.
Like I know you were just with Ryan, right? Keyboardist
Oh
Ryan.
yeah, Ryan. He just hit me up last night.
Yeah.
He's such a good dude.
He's the dude.
He's so yeah.
He's the dude. I think we're bringing him down with Chris Lawrence for a May 18th gig because him and Chris play together.
Yeah.
Whenever Chris is in town. So
Did Chris move? I didn't know.
Chris moved out east.
Okay.
So he's been out there doing working in a studio, doing gigs out in New York, and he's coming back to the Midwest for a May 18th gig. We got him on. So
Cool.
yeah, and then he's making Ryan come down.
May 18th. Where?
Down in Rochester.
Okay.
You want to come?
I do want to come. I gotta look at my calendar.
It's a Saturday.
Okay.
Like it'll be a public private event, low key, 150 people.
Okay.
I don't know what low key is for you.
That's about that's like the private events that we do are typically 150 to 250
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Well, that's fire code.
Okay.
I always got to give him one of these.
Okay.
That's fire code. That's when the chief shows up and start throwing stuff.
Like who's really gonna come in and count? Like
Oh my, you'd be surprised.
153.
Like
Wrap it up.
in Rochester, okay, so like Twin Cities, a lot of these venue owners, they just get it. It's the lay of the land. We want a lot of people here because that equals more food sales, more liquor sales. Down in Rochester, it's kind of like a little big town, so you have a lot of ruckus that doesn't need to be there. Due to people worried, I don't want to lose my liquor license. I don't want to lose my insurance for my venue. It's kind of like the calamity that comes with marijuana. If you make a big deal out of it, it's a big deal. If you just keep your mouth shut and quit worrying about something that doesn't matter, just because you only have 2 exits in your venue, if you go over by 50 people, what's the big deal?
I guess.
That's more people that got to have fun. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I deal with, booking events.
So you guys gotta count heads as they come in?
I'm not.
Oh.
And I pray to God the venue doesn't either.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is being weird. Okay, so I first heard you on Prof's song "Be Around" on Pookie Baby.
That was your first introduction to me, huh? That's cool.
Why is this being weird? My headphones are being weird. Dude, it's this thing. Yeah.
Is it a short?
Yeah, it's shorting out. I got to get a new splitter. Okay, we're good. Okay, so I first heard you on "Be Around," and I was like, this is an angel right here. This is the voice of an angel. Because it's really cool when you hear one of your favorite hip-hop artists do a duet. And that's, in a nutshell, what it was.
Wow.
And what was it like when you got the call?
I was honored because I know about Prof. You know, my memory's the worst, but there was the album where he's like sitting in a dirty tub with a bowl of spaghetti. I was like playing that on repeat one summer. My producer I was working with back then put me on to him, and I was like, I like this dude. Like I'm not a hip hop head at all. So it was stepping outside of what I normally listen to. I'm more like pop R&B, and then like Christian alternative. Yeah. I have an interesting mix of musical influence. But anyway, he put me on that project, and I knew him. I knew of his music. I knew that I liked him as an artist, and I was honored that he wanted to work with me. And then we wrote the song together. It wasn't something he was just like, here, sing this. He already had I'll be around. I'm not going to try to sing because I'm hoarse. But anyway, he had that part. But then, and he had his first verse. But like most of the stuff I sang, we wrote together. Yeah. So that was fun. You know, it's like bonding with another artist, another creative, which I don't do enough of. I need to do more. So that was nice to step out of my comfort zone of writing on my own, and write with somebody else, and also somebody very creative. And like he brought a really fun and different perspective. You know, yeah, it was fun. And then the recording of it, you can hear it. Like you can hear you can hear it in my voice that I enjoyed recording the song. It wasn't just like a run of the mill. Okay. And I do that with every song. But there's been some things, like if I'm singing something that I'm not really into, it's hard to get into. But it's like, yeah, I really like the song too.
You could tell there was symbiosis.
Yes.
And you could just tell throughout the listening process as a consumer of it. You could tell the vibes were high in the room. Because oftentimes, especially in the game of like hip hop, there's a lot of email features.
Right.
So, you know, I'll just Lil Wayne email over 16. And you can tell by the energy in the song, it's just, it's not happening. You know, and I'm obviously just using him as an example. But you could tell with your guys's, with the vibes in the room, man, you could just tell that it was I fell in love with Ashley Dubose's voice that day. And I knew I needed to get a hold of you because I was like, okay, what we're trying to do is tap into not just anybody in the state, the people who are actually on the rise, the ones who have not peaked yet, who are not on their way down. Like if I got a call from Cisco today and he wanted to do an interview, I'd do it just for nostalgia, just to make him sing Thong Song. Right. But like, you know,
we made a dance up to that when I was a teen. Yes. I remember like specific moves, not all of it, but I remember. But I get what you're saying.
You know, you're still rising, and that's where it's like the energy's high, and it goes to show when you're getting a call from arguably one of the top performers our state has ever seen in Prof. Yeah. You go see anytime you see him live, it's consistent.
I haven't seen him perform live in person. I've seen him perform. Obviously, live means in person. I've seen him perform on videos, and I'm just like, whoa. You got to keep that energy up the whole show. Like, it's amazing. He has a lot of stamina.
And he doesn't use background vocals. So his voice is
the only voice that fills the
That's it. So he only uses his instrumentals, no background vocals on any of them. So that means he doesn't perform some songs. Like Gasoline, he doesn't perform. He'd probably only, let's see here. There's quite a few ad-libs in your guys' song together.
He hit that harmony. I'm not going to try and sing it right now, but I was like, okay, Prof, I see you. You can sing. He was like, nah. I'm like, yeah, you did your thing. I like it.
He was being modest?
He was being modest.
Was he?
I think he might have just been fake modest. You know you can sing.
So why don't we put you into disguise and bring you either to the March 22nd show or the April 12th show?
I don't need a disguise.
Come on, let's do it.
The March 28th or the March
22nd or April 12th. We can bring you to either one.
Oh, is that where Prof is performing at?
Yeah. Oh. We've got him in Rochester, March 22nd. Then we've got him in Eau Claire, April 12th. Those are the ones I'm involved
March 22nd, I'm trying to get out of town, but if I'm still here, that's a possibility.
Let's go.
Yeah. If I'm here, I'll
We'll just blow his socks off. We'll walk you backstage. He'll be like, Ashley.
I'm still waiting to perform Be Around with him. It is a challenging song. But we gotta do that live. We can do it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's freaking go. We'll document the whole thing.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like unique opportunities like that. That's what, whenever I book a show, I like to throw those in. Like what we'll do is we bring in a live painter as well. So like if we ever booked you for something, I would bring in one of my painters and we do a live rendition of you while you're on stage. And then we put them on stage with you.
Like a still photo of me on stage and he'll recreate that photo.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So our girl Brittany Shea does that. So we'll have her down at the March 22nd gig doing Prof.
Okay. Maybe I'm getting more reasons to stay in town.
You know?
And save some money. But my sister's that's her birthday, and she's going to Jamaica with my mom. So I was thinking about booking a ticket and going with them. So
To Jamaica?
Jamaica, I've never been to Jamaica.
You can't just not go to Jamaica.
I know. For
But
her 25th birthday too. So
since
maybe,
you're-
not. Maybe I'm going to Jamaica.
Since you're flying international, leave your edibles at home.
Yeah, I don't have any edibles, you guys. I don't. I mean, I'm gonna sound like I'm packing edibles. But no, when we go to Colorado a lot with the cover band, so we like to partake in edibles.
Extracurricular activities.
Once the job is done.
Well, it's funny because like typically towards the end of our episodes, I ask my guests if they're not like a pastor. I ask them what their most like influential psychedelic experience was. Sometimes it comes from edible marijuana or whatever. Do you have one?
Well,
Like in
this is an interesting
11th
conversation
grade?
since my 9-year-old is sitting right there. But I haven't dabbled in anything outside of edibles.
Legal
and
cannabis,
THC,
yeah.
And so I'm worried because I'm a very like when I get I'm already in my head a lot, and certain things put me in my head even more, or like I'm like no, like I don't know, just I get a little paranoid. So I got to be careful.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I've had some very, it puts me in touch with my emotions more. I feel like I'm more empathetic, and I see like things from a wider perspective. It's not so small-minded and like ego-focused. It's more others-centered and kind of like, I don't know. It just gives me a perspective that I feel like I don't really have in my sober mind, which can be good, but then there's downsides of for me. And everybody's different, so I don't do it a lot.
But when, like, on the back end, when reality really sets in because you're out of that state, and then you have to kind of, like, you have to break down everything you experienced the night before.
That's right. And it helps you act. But that's a good thing you're saying, right? That is a good thing, because then you're like, okay, now that I'm back to my regular sober mind, what am I going to learn from what I experienced? And how can I apply that to my sober mind, so where I'm not dependent on being intoxicated to have that perspective and be and tap into that whatever.
And that's why a lot of people use it, is to so often get out of their daily funk, which oftentimes is chemical abuse. And that's why a lot of people are using it nowadays, like veterans, things like that, even people who have had traumatic upbringings. Because I truly believe, like, man, if we just pictured everybody as a baby, as a little child, what created these messed up adults that we have walking our planet now? Things that happen in childhood. And I wish, in a perfect world, people wouldn't have to go dabble in plant medicines, things like that, in a perfect world, because we would have had perfect upbringings. So often, though, in today's day and age, it's just not the case, So we kind of have this battle upon us where it's like we're really trying to. I coach youth sports, so I see in these kids when we have just basketball practice, not even games. It's like, wow, I feel bad for that kid's at-home life, and you could just tell. With how they interact with the other kids throughout practice, if they take instruction well, things like that, you can just tell. So we have this battle going on, especially as we raise our little ones. I have a 1-year-old, you have your child, and it's like, man, the littlest things, it's moment by moment. I was just having this conversation with somebody. It's not, when you're a parent, it's not day by day, it's not year by year, it's moment by moment,
Right.
And it's the little things. So with how you empower yourself as an independent female, you're creating that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mom moment.
Yeah. And I also, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like I get a little down on, like, people tell me, Ashley, you're too hard on yourself. But like, I'm like, I just see every area where I could be doing, better. But that is one thing throughout the struggle to like find balance and being an artist and actually providing like a stable situation for my daughter and being focused and present throughout all of that. I hope she is seeing it as, well, mommy's, doing her thing. She's like chasing her dream.
Yep.
Do you feel that way, Kim? Put her on the spot. Yeah. She's amazing, and I don't really take credit for it, but I guess I could take a little bit of credit. So I guess it's working. It's working. Even when I feel like it's like, what's going on? Like, it's all working out. She's a great child.
Well, you don't ever want to get caught up on the what if syndrome, where if you didn't take this leap, you're stuck. And then what kind of parent would you be then? With what if syndrome.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because none of us, like, we weren't born on this planet in this realm to be basic.
That's funny. I just had a conversation last night about, and he said, he said you're trying to be not average. I think he said basic. Anyway, this just sounds like a lot of the same words and topics we were talking about.
I was sent here by a source greater than ourselves.
The Lord.
The Lord.
I call him God. Jesus. But yeah.
Jesus. G-O-D with a capital G.
Yes.
That's right. I have my boy is a Rabbi Shlomi Green, and in all their content,
Rabbi Slimy
Shlomi Green.
Green.
Yeah.
That sounds like an artist name.
It could be, and don't tell him that; it'll go to his head.
Dude, Rabbi. Okay.
No, but they can't print God in the full structure, so they have to put a line through the O. So it's G-D. And it's really interesting when you sit down with so many people that come from different walks of life and belief, that like they just kind of how they operate. All the while we're still tapping into what I think the same source.
I think that too.
You know?
Like, there's no way in the world we have all these religions that have a lot of the same principles. Like, and it works. Like, everybody feels like their thing works for them. And I'm like, well, yeah, it probably works for them because all of it there's truth in all of it. It gets complicated.
Yeah.
We could get into the religion discussion. I'm not the best person to have the discussion. I just do a lot of reasoning in my mind about it. And I just feel like, yeah, there has to be some truth to everything. Because, like, we're not going to be given all these faculties like hands and eyes to see and everything else. And then this understanding of the unseen. Some people are going to get the truth and some people are not. It's like in our life's journey, I feel like we get the truth somehow. We get that necessary guidance or whatever.
Have you ever had like a magical, fateful instance or moment that just like it was foolproof? You knew you were right where you needed to be?
Yes, they happen all the time. I got chills just now. My problem is these moments happen. I know you want a specific account, don't you?
It doesn't matter.
My memory, it happens all the time. Like synchronicity. It happens all the time, and I'm just like, okay, God, like I know that was you. I'll talk about it. So, most recently, for years I've been thinking about taking a leap to California. I know everybody goes there. Every artist, everyone who wants to do anything in entertainment, California is like the place to be, LA. So it's something that I literally think about every single day of my life. And it's either I want to go. Should I go? I'm looking for a sign. Oh my God, I can't go. Or it's like, okay, I think I'm coming off of that desire to go. But it's still on my mind every single day of my life. So this weekend, there was a magician at this birthday party, and he didn't call himself a magician. He called himself a mentalist. So he didn't have any cards, anything. He had a nail, and he pounded the nail into his face with a freaking hammer. I'm glad I was far away, but I was over there and I couldn't even see it, and I saw the people sitting at the table who were right next to him, holding their face and turning away. They couldn't look at it. So this man, he was just he's incredible. I'll give you his business card. You can look him up. So anyway, he was reading people's minds. So he was first he went around and told everybody what their sign was, Leo, you're a Cancer, you're Aquarius, and people were like, what? How do you know that? He didn't know any of them. Okay, and then he told people to start thinking about a memory in their childhood or in their past. Just picture yourself, be there, relive it. And then he looked at them and he's like, okay, blink your eyes. And then they blink their eyes, and then he goes, there's a guy standing, and basically he's telling them about what they're thinking. And then they're like, oh my gosh, yes, he's right. So in my mind, since I'm always looking for answers and signs and guidance for my life, I'm like, I wonder if he could help me out with this situation about California. I've seen 2 psychics and asked them about it, by the way. Anyway, and both of them said, no, I don't see you in California. I see you on the East Coast. Well, one of them said East Coast. One of them said, you can stay where you are. And like, I'm like, oh, I like that. I like the way that sounds, you know. Anyway, so yeah, Cameron doesn't want to leave. She's like, yes, stay in Minnesota. So anyway.
I love all the snow days.
Oh, yeah. Today was, I mean, not today. This winter was popping. We had a lot of, like, just days in, and we slept in, and we played in the snow a little bit, stuff like that. So, long story short, the violinist who's sitting over here, we'd done many gigs together, but, like, this particular gig, we just started actually connecting with one another. And we were talking to him, and she lives in New York, and I'm like, how is it living in New York? She moved there from Chicago, and I'm like, have you ever thought about moving to LA? And and we get to talk about the fact that I want to move to LA. I see these 2 psychics, and one of them said don't. And So anyway, she looks over at me as I'm watching this dude, and I'm just like in amazement at what he's doing. And I'm like, this is real? Like, what does he have? You know what I'm saying? That he's able to look at somebody and like tell them what they're thinking. That's crazy. So obviously, I'm sitting there thinking, like, I wonder if he could, like, give me some clarity on my situation. She leans over, she said, hey, you should ask him afterwards if you should move, where you should move. Right when she said that, he was telling a lady about her memory, what she was thinking about. And he was like, California pizza. Like, literally right after she said, I should ask him. And I'm like, did you hear that? She's like, no, what? I'm like, he just said California. He, like, literally right after you said that to me, the next thing when I tuned in back to what he was saying, out of his mouth was California pizza. But you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, is that a sign? And I'm like, that's too much of a coincidence for it to be a sign. Yeah. So y'all got to push me. Something has to push me. I got to go. I take trips out there all the time. And every time I go, there's like opportunities and cool things that happen that I'm like, if I was just here more regularly and like accessible and being able to get out, network, and do what I need to do and perform, and like I'm sure things would happen for me. So anyway, why did I get into that story? But you asked, so I felt like in that moment, that was just like super, super alignment. My thought to her comment to his saying California. Even if it was just a coincidence, that felt like a synchronicity moment. I've had so many moments where I wish I could tell you more. All I will say is they happened to me a lot.
That's a form of public meditation. I read it in this book where take 15 minutes, go sit in a park. Everything you experience through your senses, everything you hear was meant to be heard by you as a vessel at that moment. So you're kind of tapped into that because you're already cognitively thinking, this is on my mind, I need an answer right now. You got your answer. Whether you want to run with it is up to you. But what we're experiencing in the age of the internet, I just got back from Los Angeles, same old thing. It's like, I need to be out here, but this vortex is so strong because 99% of people who go out there get chewed up and spit out. Artists, creatives, actors. The cool thing about being where you already are, a fly-out artist, a paid gig artist, you can go operate out there. You can go. Kanye, look at what Kanye does. Kanye goes, gets his ranch in Wyoming or whatever? Okay. Idaho?
Where they were doing.
Yeah. But he goes, he's a globalist. He can now fly wherever. Right. And we can operate in the age of the internet. We can now do that from the Midwest because guess what? That's what I'm saying. And it's a way closer flight to New York from here than it is Los Angeles. Doesn't mean like mentally we hold ourselves back. We say we need to be at this place because that's what's going to bring it out of us and give us the connections. Right. You already have the connections.
It's more of an energy. It's like more of a, you feel better when you can, like the whole vibe, the culture, being able to go and, I'm on my vegan journey right now. I say journey because I don't want it to sound like I'm like strictly like, I ate some chocolate the other day, but basically, the taco trucks, they're open till like 3-4 in the morning and they only charge you $1.25. Like, I can't go out here on Central Avenue and go get me a taco if I'm hungry in the middle of the night. It's like, it's just so accessible and diverse and like the weather's nice and like, it gives you a feeling of endless possibilities. And that's something that I don't feel when I'm in Minnesota. I like Minnesota for the reasons that I like it, but not for those reasons. So.
Plus, out there, you can be on a vegan diet, and you don't even know you're on a vegan diet because the food is so damn good.
And healthy and
Yeah.
fresh.
Yep.
So, anyway, but like you said, I have I'm blessed to be able to travel. So maybe it's just saying go take a trip, go take another one. I was just there last month. Maybe saying go back. I don't know.
Maybe you go out there and you plug out your LA EP, 5-track EP. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You work with your singular producer, singular studio. You go get that project done. You get you're out there for 2 months. You get the vibes right, and then you just test the waters.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is me giving you freaking advice, which you don't need. But
No,
at the
I do.
same
I
time,
appreciate it.
But at the same time, like we are all so connected nowadays to the coasts. Where it's like we're basically already operating on the coast. You know what I'm saying? And not even being there. Because Lord knows you know a lot of people out there.
Yeah, I
But
know.
we got to keep you out of the strip clubs. Because I've heard
I've
stories.
never been to a strip
I've heard
club, but we
stories, Ashley. We got to keep you out of the strip clubs. I hear you just love them out in LA. That's really what's drawing you out there.
I got a doppelganger going to the strip clubs. Yeah, take a picture
No, I'm
next
just
time of her. No, that I've never been to one. I'm 29. It's just something that I don't desire. I
It's
think it's weird.
honestly, no. Like you kind of like there's a sense of sadness when you roll in because you're like all the daddy issues in here. So many daddy issues. And it's like, bro,
For the men and the women.
both. And
Or
it's
mommy
like,
and daddy issues.
yeah, straight up.
Just issues. We got
And
a lot of issues. in
I'll
here
never
tonight.
forget. It was my bachelor party a couple years ago. Me and the boys, we hit up a show downtown. We went to 7, and then we all went. They all wanted to go to strip club, so we went. And I think this is probably like
Which
my
one?
second or third ever. Was it Rick's Cabaret? I don't know. There's one downtown. Doesn't even matter. But you're down there, and it's like, bro, I'm like talking to my boys, bro, do not go to the ATM again. Don't do it to yourself. And I'm being looked at as a buzzkill, but it's like, bro, we're all good, man. Like, the majority of us have old ladies. Like, let's get out of here, dog. Because I look at it as like, maybe I've taken too many psychedelics where I look at it as
You're
like,
too woke.
so many daddy issues in here. And it's like, bro, this just ain't the vibe.
Yeah.
You know, I feel bad.
And it's not, that and some clubs too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just strip clubs. Like, I don't really go out a lot. And I'm not trying to throw shade because, like, there's issues in broad daylight
Yep.
at, like, freaking Target.
Absolutely.
Okay? Like,
Absolutely.
Not to, like, point fingers and stuff. But there's certain, vibe. The vibe is just, it just screams.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
So it's all about trying to keep the vibes high.
Well, it influences me to raise my child right. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like even you go to a club and some of the drink people. I'm not gonna throw a pronoun on them, but some of the drink people, like where you can just tell, oh, this is your life. You're stuck here forever. There is no hope, and you feel bad because
That's how they see it. It's
yes,
not the truth, but
yeah,
that's how they see it.
Yes, and it's like it's damn because that's your existence right now, and unfortunately, in today's day and age, something catastrophic typically has to happen for people to change their way of life. Sometimes it's as little as and minute as a DUI. But sometimes it's something catastrophic. And it happens in the nightlife. And it's kind of like, that's why, like, when I bring up the vortex of Los Angeles, my homies who are business owners out there and doing their thing, like, they dip their toes in, then they escape to the art district where they live. They dip their toes in Hollywood, because we were out there during the Grammys. And it was,
I was out there that weekend.
were you? It was insane because Childish Gambino won an award. And I was the dude, okay, so Kelvin, who lives in my boy's building, they went and introduced me to him. He was doing this voiceover class in their one of their halls.
So Calvin introduced you to Childish Gambino?
No, Kelvin is the dude who got shot in the beginning of This Is America.
Oh yeah, I met him. He
So-
was here like for a
What?
thing. I got a picture with him.
Dude, he's the one. So I got introduced to him. We just drove by the Grammys. He's like, oh yeah, Gambino won. So the dude who got shot in the video is the one telling me that Gambino won,
That's
and it was
crazy.
like small world synchronicity.
That's crazy.
And it was just
Out of
crazy.
all the people that you could have heard
Yep,
it from,
yep,
you
yep.
heard it from the guy
Yeah.
that's like one of the main people in the video.
So
Or
you know Kelvin
most
too?
memorable. I don't know him. I mean, like we exchanged. Did we exchange numbers? If we did, I'm terrible. I need to like reach out.
Well,
but, like,
regardless.
we like got a picture. And,
Yeah.
like,
He's talented.
An Instagram thing. He's really cool.
His
too, in
girl
person.
works for my boys who introduced me, Charlie. So it was just small world type stuff. And it just lets you know, like, the 5 degrees of separation or 6 degrees of separation really gets brought down in Los Angeles. When you're there, you know everybody through a couple people.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, you know what's crazy? Speaking of synchronicities, now they're all popping into my mind. So, contrary to the belief of you gotta go somewhere, like the way God works, the way life works, universe, whatever, would have it such that this song that I sang ever since I was a kid, and people always ask me, when did you start singing? I'm like, well, I remember singing, like, when did you realize you could sing? And I always say, I was singing along to the radio to Killing Me Softly by the Fugees, and like I've always sing, like that song has been my song, like throughout to today. I still sing it, I perform it, and I ended up being asked to perform in a showcase that was being put on for Jerry Wanda, who is the producer of the score, the Fugees album that contains Killing Me Softly, and it turns out he moved here, he lives here now, so now me and him, like, okay, this is gonna lead me into the next. So I ended up. There's so many synchronicities. On that showcase, I had a list of songs, including Killing Me Softly, and then another song that my mom was like, you should sing Beautiful. You should sing Beautiful. And it turns out, she didn't even know, Beautiful by Mally Music, he produced it. And I was like, what? So then I wasn't gonna sing it because I wasn't as comfortable with it. And we had to narrow down the set list. So at backstage, like 30 minutes before we go on, I'm like, okay, y'all. Because in rehearsal, they were like, okay, we don't really want to do a bunch of songs that he's done because that's kind of like, that's skating on thin ice. He could either love it or hate it. Like, it could be a really bad decision or a good one. Nothing in between. So we were like, okay, you're right. So we're going to take off Beautiful. We're definitely going to do Killing Me Softly and da-da-da. So then last minute, I was like, for some reason, I wanted to put Beautiful back on the list. We ended up performing Beautiful, and he was like, he was like having drinks and talking and kind of not really paying attention to the performers. But when he heard his song, he keyed in and heard me singing his song. And then afterward, he was like, that is one of my most favorite songs that I've ever created. And you performed it tonight. So like the crazy thing is just like people draw a lot of comparisons between me and Lauryn Hill, and now I'm like linked with a very, instrumental part of her career. Not saying that that's going to be any indication because we haven't done any work together. We've just been on like a friend basis. He did put some bass on one of the songs on my EP that I just released in February called Back to Reality. But other than that, it's just like now we vibe, and in one of our first conversations we had over the phone, he told me about this thing called Landmark, and I'm like, that's interesting. This lady earlier was just telling me today about Landmark. And he was like, yeah, I swear by it. Like, I've been doing it for years. It's great. It's been a really positive thing in my life. My kids do it. And I'm like, wow, okay, twice in one day, I got to check that out. So I went home and I looked into Landmark and I saw that they offered these classes. And I'm like, that's kind of expensive. This seminar, it's like an introductory seminar. And then they have a curriculum. But like the first class you take, everybody has to take that class before they take other ones. So I was like, I don't know, $600, that's a lot. I put that on the back burner. So I have been getting calls from this missed calls from this unknown number. And then my brother one day was like, Ashley, my pastor's trying to get a hold of you. I'm like, oh, okay, that must be his number that I've been missing calls from. Cool, I'll call him back. I called him back, and he was like, so what are you doing on the weekend of such and such? And I'm like, I looked at my calendar because me and my daughter's dad, we alternate weekends with her. So I'm like, well, I don't have Cameron with me that weekend. I'm not doing anything, And then he was like, well, I have a scholarship for this class. It's called the Landmark Forum. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what? So Landmark was brought up to me twice. And one day I went, looked up, the price was like too high for me to like just jump at it, put it on the back burner. And then here comes a way to take the class for free. And since then, I've taken quite a few classes, and it's just like life improvement. It's like home improvement. It's like self-help, but in groups, in a group atmosphere where there's all kinds of people. Where it's like complete transparency, and like their basis that they. Long story short, I'm not like trying to advertise for Landmark. If you're interested, you can look it up. If you're watching, look it up. But like authenticity, integrity, and communication, those are like the biggest things that biggest takeaways that I've gotten from this curriculum that I started. And whenever I felt like, I didn't feel like being there, or this is a drag, or this is too much, or this and that, whatever reasons I had in my mind to not do it, I remember those synchronicities, and I'm like, no, I'm here for a reason. Like, that was, don't forget how mind blown you were when you got that call. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's another instance in life where I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. Now, the question is, when are you supposed to leave? So it's like they got this whole curriculum, and I'm thinking about taking a class tomorrow, starting tomorrow every Tuesday, about love and relationships.
Really?
Yeah. Now we about to talk about love?
Well, no, it seems like you're on this this journey of, self-discovery, but you're just rolling with the punches. You're rolling with what life gives you. That's something where you should consider yourself lucky, because so many people, you know them, I know them, they're involved in our life. They're the worker bees of the world. They are enslaved to the man, per se. And a piece of them is dying every single day they go in and clock in. Yeah. Now, there are people who are in your corner who have your best interest in mind. And that is a place of love. That is a place of blind luck. You have people who are just looking out for your best interest.
Say that.
And the man upstairs, I have, no matter how you perceive him, her, it, Zim, Zer, X, whatever, no matter how you perceive it, as long as you are open to it, fateful instances just start piling up. And once I started allowing them in my life, just these synchronicities, they started happening more and more and more. And it got to the point where I couldn't close the door on it. It was like all these gremlins were trying to get in, and they're positive gremlins like,
right.
I'm here to help you. No, I got your back. It doesn't matter if I'm on your ankles. I got you. Yeah. And then good things start happening. Connections start happening. Singing in front of that man. His song.
Yeah, this interview.
That's incredible. And I felt that last night. Because typically, I don't really full-on prepare for my interviews. I roll with the punches. I just go with the flow. I'm a conversationalist, so I just take it where my mind says we go. And I had this feeling, I've never gotten this feeling before an interview, where I felt Ashley needed this talk. She needed this conversation.
And it was right.
And I'm not egoically saying that. I'm saying that like,
I know.
we needed this to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not to build bridges or anything like that, because bridges are built regardless if we associate with one another. It's that what comes out of these conversations is oftentimes a spirit builder. It is something that it might just be that added bit of oomph, that kick in the butt that gets us over here, gets us over there. And it does the same thing for me as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you had every right to cancel this interview. You just got off an airplane. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I'm not going to lie and say I didn't think about it. I was like, I should. My mom, I told my mom, I'm like, man, she's like, no, just stay positive. Don't cancel it. Just like stay positive.
Shout out to mom.
Yeah, my mom's the best, literally and obviously the best.
Shout out to grandma.
Happened to me and my daughter.
Cameron, what do you call grandma? What's her nickname? Huh? Granny Ma? I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, she's been calling her Granny Ma since she was like, hey, that's unique. Hey, that's nice to have
Granny
a unique,
Ma.
like, no shade grandmas around the world, but like most grandmas are grandma.
Yep.
My grandma's my mom.
Yep.
Have you ever heard my mom and pop?
My mom?
My mom and pop pop.
Pop pop?
We got some unique
Well,
grandparents.
because my grandpa, my stepdad, he's Papa to my Papa.
Her grandpa on her dad's side is Papa.
Yeah, Papa. Papa.
I still call my mom Mommy, by the way.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Papa.
So,
Nana.
like your relationship with your mom, is she kind of like one of your first calls of the day, last calls of the day, breakfast every Sunday?
I told y'all I'm taking this class called Love and Relationships, and it's not only just romantic relationships, it's relationships in general. That's a life lesson right now that I'm learning, is that relationships are to be cherished and watered and treasured. treasured and cherished her, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I don't call my mom every day like I should, but she's one of the closest people to me in my life. I just don't have a lot of people that I call every day. I don't, you know. She's very supportive of me. She's the reason that I started singing in front of people. She found out I could sing, and then she would have me sing on the spot for people, and I would get really nervous. To this day, she has me sing on the spot for people, and I still get nervous. And like, do I have to? Like now, it's like expected because it's like, well, you grown. What you gonna like? You do this for a living, right? Okay, come sing. So, but I'm learning how to like regulate those emotions more instead.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to. I'm like, okay. And she's very supportive. She's helpful with all her grandchildren. She has 4 grandchildren now. So Cameron was the first. I had Cameron when I was 19. Well, I was 20 when I had her, 19 when I got pregnant. So she was pretty early, so I made my mom a young grandma, but she's just been solid. Like, she's such a selfless, loving person. Big-hearted, fun. Everybody who meets her loves her. They're like, I love your mom. And I'm not bragging, because I don't have nothing to do with that. That's her. So I just got really lucky. She gave us a really good upbringing. We didn't have a lot of money. We were on welfare, food stamps, Section 8, all of that. But poverty doesn't equal like lack of love, lack of morals, values, and joy. Like you can have, money is one necessity in life and whatever, but we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't go a lot of places, but what we did have was a mom who was like super resourceful. We got to go on camping trips and stuff like with our church because she got involved in churches, Boys and Girls Club. Just made sure we were enriched and like made sure we were doing well in school and stuff. Like she was just she was a solid mom growing up, and she is a solid like supporter, grandmother, mother to this day. So yeah. That's my mom.
Shout out to Mama.
Our relationship is going to improve. It's better. Like, you know, we have our moments. We bumped heads a lot. When I was a teen, I was like the problem child. I'm probably like the black sheep of the family. But that's okay. It's all love.
Why do you say you're the black sheep?
I don't know. Like the black sheep is kind of like the one that like the problem child, right? I wasn't a problem child. I just feel like me and my mom bumped heads more than any of her other children. Like, and but maybe not. Maybe that's my perspective.
Where did you fall in regards to?
There's 4 of us, and I'm the second oldest.
You're the second
I'm like
oldest.
a middle child. I always had this thing where I'm like, well, Mariah's the youngest, Jeffrey's the only boy, Veronica's the firstborn, and I'm just here hanging out in like this spot right here. You know,
You're the mayonnaise.
I'm the mayonnaise.
You're the lettuce.
I'm the light skinned child. Yeah, the high yellow one.
The hot yellow one.
The one that looks just like my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Pops too.
Shout out to my daddy.
Whenever I always laugh when people say I'm the problem child, because technically I'm the problem child of my family too. But I just heard this analogy, and it comes from the Bible, about Jacob fighting the angel and leaving the fight with a limp. And it was based on, it's actually used quite a bit in the business world, where business partners you decide to trust the ones with a limp, because they've been through things in life. And those are my favorite people. Like I grew up a latchkey child too.
I've heard that term, but I don't know what it means.
After school, low income programming, where it's like you have a single parent, so they're still working, so they need anyone to watch you. So basically, it's just like, low income programming after school, where you're stuck, you can't leave. And basically, that was me. I was a latchkey child, and you look around and you see so many people who ended up with character because they grew up with limps. So we might have had screw-ups in our life and things like that, and run-ins with the law or whatever that may be, or problems with authority. But at the same time, like, look at us now. Like, we're the ones defining culture. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's so true.
Because we got a little limp to us.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
like that. You just thought of that now, huh?
Yeah. That's what we do.
You need to... You're a motivational speaker?
I mean, I get on stage and talk people up.
Okay,
but
so you're motivated. But you don't call yourself a motivational
No. I hate titles.
I know. Yeah.
Because I feel like titles, they, define us, which immediately puts us in a corner because we have to live up to that. I was just telling my man Brandon on the elevator coming up here, we created Stationary Astronaut as an enigma. That way we would never be pigeonholed. So I wouldn't ever be classified as a radio host or a motivational speaker. I can do anything now.
Right.
And that's where I can't be tied down. And that's why I love drummers who aren't just studio drummers. People don't know them as studio drummers. They know them as the drummer of Van Halen or whatever, but he'll get in and he doesn't even ask for producer credits, and he goes in and slays it because he is a cat of multiple breeds. And that goes for background vocalists. That goes for anyone where it's like, no, you're a chameleon. Mm-hmm. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, you can't be classified. Yeah. And you're receptive, so you always pick up the phone. It's like, no, I'm here, baby. What do you need? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep.
And that's kind of what I like to operate under is, no, let's not classify ourselves. Let's be chameleons and let's go get this bread because we're all in it together. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
And it's fun that way, too. Variety's fun for me. Some people like to know exactly, okay, what is the thing? What's the title? What's the expectation? Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 knock it out, check. But I like that fluidity in variety, yeah.
I can tell by your outfit.
Thank you.
Because you answered the door and you already pushed us back a half an hour. You're like, can we make it 1? I was like, okay, we'll go grab some lunch.
You want to show up early.
Yeah, and then we showed up 7 minutes early.
I'm going to need all 7 of the minutes that you agreed to give me.
She literally, I messaged her at 12:53. I was like, yeah, we're walking into the lobby now. She's like, I need 7 more minutes. I was like, damn, she's on point.
Well, not really, though, because I pushed it a whole half an hour back. And then when they showed up, thank you for taking out my recycling.
Well, it's nice. The least we could do. You hooked us up with an interview in your spot because I told you, I was like, let's do it somewhere where you're comfortable. And obviously it's your apartment.
I love this place. It's like I don't have a lot of company. It's not like the most decorated, well decorated place, but this little couch, I probably needed to get rid of it a long time ago, but I love this couch. It's comfy.
Would you consider those Christmas lights or all the time lights?
They're all the time lights. They're always up there. They're not colorful. They're white.
Cameron, what would you call them? Fairy lights. I like her style. No, I like the high ceilings. Lots of echoes.
I sing a lot in here. It's good it's good acoustics for singing. My neighbors never tell me to shut up. That's nice.
Well, that's a plus.
Who? Did she? Oh, you talking about across the hall? Okay.
What you want? Is her name? What do you call her?
Mind. I did have a complaint once.
You got to call her Karen. She's a Karen.
What is her name? I know her sister's name. Her sister lives downstairs. Her sister's the one who told me. She's like, she has the accent, but I'm not going to try and recreate it. But basically, she was like, my sister says you be singing too loud. Can you? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, I hope she knows she can always come and knock on the door and be like, but, not everybody, people don't know. So,
are we talking shower singing? Are we talking singing while we're cooking vegan food? What are we talking?
Oh, okay. Singing in the shower, yes. If I'm in a good mood, it's like, when I'm in a good mood, I'm like a bird, like No, wait. Maya Angelou said, I know why the caged bird sings. So the caged bird, why does the caged bird sing? Did she ever answer that question?
Is it because we're slowly going insane?
Maybe I'm just insane.
You know what I'm saying? Well, when we stick to ourselves, because like I'm guilty, like especially come these times of the year, like wintertime, where it's like you're cooped up. Pun intended, cooped up like a bird in a cage. And it's like, if I don't get creative, or people call me crazy because I talk to myself a lot, but really what I'm doing is preconceiving conversation that I plan on having with, say, an Ashley.
Oh.
Like last night.
That's practice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But some would consider it you're a crazy person.
And tell them, okay, watch when I'm popping.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like,
better watch out, sucker.
Practicing his interviews. Now he's interviewing Oprah.
Actually, I'm gunning for Oprah. I want.
Are you?
Well, because so I was actually really breaking down my influence. Okay, and Oprah is probably 1A. Barbara Walters is probably 1B. Mm-hmm. People sleep on Barbara, and they need to stop it.
Right. What's up? Where's she at?
Barbara Walters is probably posted up in a warm state.
Living her best life.
Living her best life. Definitely not golfing. Probably driving a golf cart though, on a resort. You know, and then my two female influences would be Barbara Walters and Oprah, and then probably Howard Stern and Joe Rogan. I don't think I gave Howard Stern the respect he deserves because, like, early on in this podcast, this is like episode 130, so we put in some time over a couple years.
130?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of people, but mainly it was like early on. I was kind of like risque, or like we would kind of have like talk controversial topics and kind of like no filter at all, and it was like it was cool, but at the same time it wasn't garnering the right kind of attention because I want to have forceful, impactful conversation that maybe we just grab a snippet from this and someone will learn a lot from it. You know what I'm saying? Talking about synchronicity. That's probably what we'll name the podcast is synchronicity, you know? Syncing up, you know, because we have a common theme there. But that's what I want is that we want to be of influence, not necessarily be the influenced. Because when you start like being brash and like F-bombs and this and that causing controversy, you're being influenced whether you want to admit it.
You're
or
being
not.
Influenced by that being like the thing that people are
Culture
doing elsewhere.
Yeah, the Tekashi 6ix9ines, those the rambunctious ones who are getting all the attention for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder how much of it is like, it's influence. Sometimes it's subconscious. You don't even realize you're being influenced. Like I find myself doing like Cardi B impersonations because I love Cardi. Like she's so entertaining and like
she's 100% across the board.
I know.
My wife and I were just comparing her and Nicki Minaj. We were about to get off Highway 52. We were on our way to get lunch, and we were talking about how Cardi has just stayed true across the board.
Yep.
She hasn't hid anything. Where you hear so many accounts of people who have run-ins or interviews with Nicki Minaj, you never know which one you're getting. It's always kind of this front. And that's not saying anything against her. She is who she is. But at the same time, the culture has spoken.
They like the real across the board. We know we're going to log in and get her.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like with Nicki, nothing against her, but her hand has been played. We now kind of know what we're getting. Where it's... Who is it?
You don't know what you're getting?
Well, you don't know what you're getting, but it's expected that you don't know what you're getting. You know, with Cardi, at least it's just across the board. Look at her; she's just straight up who she is. You know what I'm saying? But you see that with like even most recently, Ja Rule in the Fyre Fest.
I don't think I know about that.
Okay, so check this out. So Ja Rule signed on with this group out of New York. This dude who was basically, he was a Ponzi schemer, and he threw this Fyre Festival, tried throwing this Fyre Festival. He got Ja Rule on as an influencer. They tapped into a bunch of Instagram influencers, Kendall Jenner being one of them. There's 2 documentaries about it, one on Netflix, one on Hulu. Yeah.
About which part?
Fyre Festival.
Okay.
So they had this dope idea for this app called the Fyre app, where it was basically cutting out the middleman, the booking agents, and going straight to the influencer or the act. So I could go book Ashley from this app as opposed to having to go through your agent, stuff like that. So it was a cool idea, but they kind of got greedy with it where they wanted to throw this sick festival in the Caribbean on an island. So they got all these influencers on Instagram to post kind of these ads, this media. So their marketing was on point because they got people to buy these expensive tickets, but they sold themselves short. They shot themselves in the foot by like not having anything dialed in, travel, expenses were not, like he was always behind on everything. And it was like, oh my gosh, dude, like you had a great idea, but you blew it by getting Ja Rule involved. So you got Ja Rule to come gas this thing up when it's like Ja Rule is not a collected individual.
What did Ja Rule have to do with anything?
Ja Rule's influence, being partnered up with him, got them on like some of these big interview shows and stuff.
Oh, I got you. So it made them seem more legit than they were.
Yes.
And then they got themselves in over their head. They were in over their head.
Yes.
With what it required to make it a success.
Yes. And now post, Ja Rule is saying they're going to do another one when they know they're not able to do another one. And he's like at the Milwaukee Bucks game.
Did it just not go down?
It went down terribly. So they got a bunch of...
I did hear about this. Like I remember hearing one thing. I never like read up on it. Go ahead. Sorry.
So
I'm just
like
thinking out loud.
their housing wasn't on point. They had all these, the flights in and out were getting canceled and stuff. So like it was this big idea that was not well thought out. But since then,
Sorry to hear that.
no,
That's
well,
really devastating.
I think it sheds a negative light on anyone who throws events because like it can't be done like that, man. It's got to be more organized than that. It's got to be
Yeah.
realistic.
Oh man, I just threw it's on a smaller scale, not on the Caribbean, but at Ice House. In February, I had a residency there.
Yep.
Ice House is in Minneapolis on Nicollet Avenue, and every Wednesday, I was going to be there. I had a show every Wednesday. I could do whatever I wanted those Wednesday nights, and they booked me in December, and so I had just, and it took me a while to like decide whether I was going to do it, but I think I like agreed with about a month and a half to spare, just over a month to get ready. And I decided I was going to do 4 different shows. Like I didn't want to do the same show every week. I'm like, that's too, no. So I'm going to do a theme for 1 week, a different theme for another week. And I ended up having like a total of like 25 different people over the course of 4 weeks in the production.
Yeah. From
staff to like performers and everything. And it went really well, but it was also a big learning lesson. Like I understand, it was like a boot camp, event planning boot camp for me, which overall was a success, but there were a lot of areas of, it's not as easy. I think maybe these guys thought, oh, it's simple. Just get the acts, get the date, the venue, promote it.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of details that go into an event, and coordinating all those details is important. So I did a lot of things well. I did a lot of things not so well, and I like event planning.
Yeah.
I found that out. I like being behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And sharpening your sword because you have to fail forward, especially in the game of events. Like on the surface, as long as it's perceived as going off without a hitch, because you know there's a million headaches that just happened.
Yeah.
Throughout the process, there is. It's just no matter what, it's bound to happen. As long as the eyes seeing it are like, dang,
not aware.
that was pretty clean. That was pretty clean. I like that. And that was what it was with Get Me Gary V, where it was like, if people only knew the 8 months worth of headaches of fundraising $250,000 to throw this event, like to make it go off, and the headaches, the day of snapping our fingers, having to put things in place. If people only knew, they just saw the production and it was on point. But that's the importance of a team, you know, and actually doing it and not doing it on a deserted island, I guess you could say, doing it in Minneapolis where you can get your hours in, you know? So yeah, it's like, it's tough. And then like with going back to Ja Rule, like the dude, like he's not a great representative of anything nowadays. And it's unfortunate because you want everyone to ride out into the sunset like a Justin Timberlake, where they don't have
downfalls?
no downfalls, where they can, and even like a Beyonce, where Beyonce is queen bee to me, like she can't do any wrong.
But I will say the two, Beyonce and Justin Timberlake, these are two of the like biggest pop stars that are going down in history with the team and the infrastructure and like the things in place. I don't know what Ja Rule's situation is looking like, but I can't imagine it's looking as like, I'm just saying like, you know, certain along the way, if you build yourself up to a Justin Timberlake or up to a, you know, Beyonce or Michael Jackson, whatever, you have this operation. It's like a well-oiled machine. Then there's the others who don't get to that point, but they're still trying to make things happen. And I feel like people have the best of intentions. I actually saw a movie on Netflix. It was really good. It was a really good movie that Ja Rule was in. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, Ja Rule is back. So I know he's trying to make a comeback in his career. I know he's not trying to be out here fraudulently, you know, getting over on people or whatever. I don't believe that. I shouldn't say I know. I don't believe that's what his intention is. But I think sometimes even people with good intentions, you have to have a team. You have to have people who know what they're doing, and you have to have attention to detail, and all those things are important. But I mean, I guess I'm in Ja Rule's defense, but you know, it's like
He cursed the Timberwolves. He tried cursing the Timberwolves last week.
I heard about that. I don't be paying attention.
That's where I draw the line. He tried to pull a little B curse, and it was like, come on, Ja Rule.
Was he performing at halftime? Is that what it was?
Of the Bucks game.
Where was this?
Milwaukee Bucks game against the Timberwolves.
Against the Timberwolves.
And
Oh,
then
okay, gotcha.
and then he thought the Timberwolves. He thought Karl Anthony Towns played for the Sacramento Kings, and he like mistakenly cursed the Kings, but he thought he was cursing the Timberwolves. It's just
Oh,
a big
yeah, that's
debacle.
not good.
Okay, say you had the priciest bottle of liquor that you value, okay, that you want to bust open next Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather trust it with DMX or Ja Rule to keep it untapped until next Christmas?
I have no basis for this choice. Because he cursing people and like couldn't keep names straight and stuff, I wouldn't trust him with being responsible with my bottle of liquor. So I would give it to DMX. I know DMX is he seems like he's on a straight and narrow path. I don't think he might even be drinking alcohol nowadays. So that's my answer.
I had to throw him in because like both of them kind of took over the world there for a little while.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy looking back. I was just thinking about this, like all these stars, all of our, like the stars. Everybody's eventually, you know, you have a this and then you have that. You know, whether it's because you're choosing to have the nobody wants to fall. I mean, like maybe it gets exhausting being like here. Maybe like one day Beyonce might be like, look, y'all was good, but I just dedicated like my whole life to entertaining you guys, and now I just want to like go do something else. And so we would see the brand Beyonce like be a thing of yet the past. Maybe. Who knows if that's going to happen? Like I don't. But Tina Turner, you know, like eventually you get old and your values change, and like you see life differently and you want different things. So. But it's crazy whether it's a downfall or whether it's just age or a tragedy or whatever, you know, like the stars, they're just like fireworks, you know? They're here and then they're gone. And,
I envy the ones who can tap out earlier rather than later, where their skeletons in their closet don't need to eat them alive. And we just recently, we're seeing this with Michael Jackson right now with Leaving Neverland.
I haven't watched it. I want to watch it.
It's crazy because, well, let's just say an icon who shaped my existence, shaped all performers' existences, whether they admit it or not. He's being torn down while he is 6 feet under.
That's what I don't like.
You know?
Because I feel like this. The man is not here to even defend himself. People could say whatever they want to. Lies and truths. How are we going to decipher what's real and what's not? At this point, we got to let bygones be bygones. Of course, they're going to try and still make money off of this man. He's dead. They still want to make money off of him, though. And it's like, what can we do? He can't star in anything. He can't come perform. Oh, let's throw some dirt on his name. That sounds good. People come and see that. And I'm talking without having even seen it, but that's just what my spirit tells me. I feel like they're trying to tear him down. Let him be his great self. Nobody's perfect. Nobody on this earth is perfect. Even like the most admired person. Beyonce's not perfect. Who do we all admire and we think can't do any wrong? Oprah. Oprah's not perfect. We're just never going to know what demon she deals with because that's not what she's out here to promote. She probably wouldn't want, like, these people, we're all trying to do our best. And I feel like even with the R. Kelly situation, people do bad stuff. I'm not excusing it. I just feel like the people who want to take somebody's the tragedy of rape and like childhood molestation, you want to take that and turn it into a profit. For like now you're just as bad as the person who did it.
Yep.
So
they're capitalizing on their own on their own darkness that they're trying to escape, but they're capitalizing on it.
Yeah, you're capital. Even these like crime stories that I see on TV, like why are we turning this into like an entertainment thing? Now we're entertained by somebody's tragedy, somebody's misfortune. I'm not like I say I want to see it, but then like the movie, the R. Kelly documentary and the Michael Jackson and everything, it's like I could go see that, but what is that going to give? What is that going to add to my life? What can I take from that and learn? Yep. I mean, if it's to be a better person and don't do bad things, cool. I think I got that. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm like every day is a day to try and do your best and do right by people.
Yep.
But I don't like the idea of the whole world flocking to see something that you have no way to to know what's true and what's not, and all it's doing is tearing down the memory and legacy of a person who's no longer here to even defend themselves, to say this is not true or this happened because it's no point to me.
There's power in time. Now, when I say Leonardo da Vinci, what comes to mind?
I don't know a whole lot about him.
Well, you think of innovator, you think of brilliant artists.
Yeah, I know. I know the idea of him
Yeah.
is like this big.
Yeah.
I know the Da Vinci Code is like. I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
I'm very just ignorant about Leonardo da Vinci.
But this is what time does for a creative who has a dark past. Leonardo da Vinci had a little boy toy that he brought with him, that stayed with him in the basement of the Vatican when he was operating on and dissecting cadavers. People don't see that side of Leonardo da Vinci. Time has...
And that's true?
That's true.
And we know that's true
factual.
because his boy toy came out and said, I was
It
the
was
person.
allowed back then.
Oh.
So this kind of set the scale for, darkness that came out of the Vatican. But the thing is the majority of priests are good. The majority of police officers are good. But the bad ones get pigeonholed. That's the same thing with performers right now. It's happening with R. Kelly. And it's like Aaliyah, who R. Kelly had a relationship with when she was like 14 or 15. Aaliyah loved R. Kelly. All the while, that's a no-no in the world of normalcy. Back in the day when Leonardo da Vinci was rolling around, it was just normal. And the thing is, just like racism, there was a time where it was normalized by the white man and it was allowed. And then it eventually time caught up where it's like, no, you're an outlier if that's how you think. That's not allowed here. Kind of like how we've grown up where pedophilia is completely frowned upon, just like racism is completely frowned upon. The problem is time has not been allowed to work its magic with Michael Jackson, to work its magic with R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Where
Where what he did was okay?
Where his
Is okay?
is forgotten about.
Oh.
Because
But isn't he claiming that there's a lot of false allegations against him?
well, there's always going to be on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Because I played diplomacy with this one. I have no idea.
And here's the thing. I mean, I guess we leave that up to the judge and the jury, but it's like, maybe I need to just go watch the movie and not speak too much prematurely, but it's just, something tells me that it's like it seems like a cycle of, even with Bill Cosby, like, I mean, I guess if you do, the moral of the story is be careful what you do, because as soon as you are guilty of one thing, it makes it easier for them to pin a whole bunch of other things on you, and people will believe it because you did that one thing that you did. Now you can't defend yourself as well against these other allegations. I guess that's the moral of the story. But
Check it out, though. There's a bigger talking point. Why are they going after black figureheads when this has been happening with CEOs, these Fortune 50 presidents, when they've been on the perv train for way longer?
Where are their movies at,
You know what I'm
And their
saying?
Documentaries. Not like I'm condoning. Like, I mean, give the person the consequence that they deserve based on the due process, court hearing process, and keep it moving. Why do we need to pump this into the consciousness of America, of the mainstream? Why are we giving these things so much power and importance? There's so many things happening in the world. There's so many more topics that we could be covering in the mainstream that actually matter. Like, every time I turn on like the TV, it's something about some celebrity, Kim Kardashian, Khloe, all the Kardashians, or like R. Kelly, or like the dude that like lied about getting beat up and stuff. It's like, cool, these things are happening. They're regular people, but what about like stuff that can expand our mind? And like, what about talking about a peace of mind? You know, we realize that depression is a really serious issue that a lot of people deal with on a large scale, the masses. So why not put something on that's going to help them? I mean, aside from some of these commercials that say, go take this pill for depression.
Yeah.
What about, meditation? Consider that. Or here, in the news today, this person overcame this obstacle. Does that inspire you?
Yep.
Maybe you're going through something, and look at what this person did. But they want to put death, fear, drama, who cheated on who, like all this unnecessary negativity. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm waiting for the world to change.
Where's the value at? And that's what we're looking for, is like the positivity that's providing value in my life, because I'm trying to be a positive force. And there's so many people who get caught up in this vicious cycle of it's a vibrational state where they're okay with the drama, with what did Kim Kardashian do, who got the new butt implant, this, that, and another, where it's like, wait a minute, that's keeping us down here. Let's talk about some of that good. Let's go vegan life, dude.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Isn't
Like,
it crazy what it does to your like clarity?
maybe, you know what? I need to be more like tuned into the different, because it could be offset by my lack of sleep. I need to get more sleep in a night. But I've noticed certain things already, like on the health side, from just not eating dairy and meat. And it's only been about a week and a half. I did have some chicken last weekend, and I had a thing of yogurt, and I cooked in some butter. So those are the three things. And then I had like a Twix 2 nights ago, which is chocolate.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Okay, that's true. So my point is, yeah, like not even just to say, oh, I don't eat this. It's more about, okay, what are we putting into our bodies for real? But of course, they're not gonna put that on the mainstream, because if you've seen the What the Health video, we know why they're not gonna put ways for you to be healthy. They don't want us to be healthy on a large scale, because then that means less sickness, less hospital visits, less medicine sales, and whatever. So, but yeah, no, I'm going on a tangent. There's so many good
I know
possibilities that we could put in place of some of this garbage that I don't even watch this TV, really.
Well, we're graduating from those things. It's nowadays, that's why what we're doing right now, voice is so key, and why it's becoming a pillar of content and media, because we're always traveling now. So we have our earbuds in and we're cruising along. We're on a flight. We're listening to podcasts. We're listening to audiobooks. That's value being provided that CNN and Fox News. Notice what happened to MTV? MTV was catering to that lower vibrational state. The days of Jackass is no longer. We don't care anymore about dudes jumping off ledges and breaking their ankle. It just isn't enticing anymore. I used to love it. I used to eat it up. Me and my friends would create our own Jackass videos.
See what they doing?
But
They influencing y'all to do some dumb shit.
that's what I'm saying. I was an 8th grader, 9th grader, just being reckless. But nowadays, like, we're past that. And it's crazy to see how quick we've advanced with our level of understanding and what we'll deal with, what we'll put up with. We won't put up with it anymore. And the connectivity between all of us is so important with how often we travel, things like that. You will quit counting blessings the sooner you travel to a third world country. You know what I'm saying? You immediately realize I have it so good. And even if I live in the northern hemisphere where I have to deal with 14 feet of snow.
Right.
Okay, so before we end this, okay?
This has been so fun.
I know. I'm going to make you give me 60 seconds of motivation.
I thought you were about to say 60 seconds is thinking. I'm like, sorry, brother, can't help you
No,
today.
we ain't going to do that. But it's awesome when I get to have a guest like you and I get to use one of your copyright tracks at the beginning of the episode, and I don't have to deal with backlash.
You already know which one you're going to play?
I am probably going to play, what's it called? It's BU.
Oh, nice.
BU is probably one of my favorites because I like the ad-libs on it. I like the ad-libs, yep.
Oh,
You.
Hey, I take pride in my harmonies and my backgrounds. I be like, and like, it's funny because I'm like, I wonder if anybody ever cares about that part, because every time I hear it, I'm like, yeah, that was a good idea.
Well, and that's where, like, what made Kendrick, with Kendrick, his ad-libs put him in a league of his own. With just his ad-libs alone, and then obviously you got Schoolboy Q with him too, and Schoolboy Q was known for his ad-libs too, and it's like that's obviously just speaking hip-hop. But another, even Beyonce, some of her ad-libs, and Rihanna on one of her albums, her ad-libs were just on point, and then you throw these filters on the ad-libs, and then we start waking up in the morning singing the ad-libs in the shower.
I remember, like, when I was... it's funny, I don't listen to music as much as I did when I was a teen, but like when I will hear like an Usher song or Chris Brown, like from 2010, Chris Brown, I know all the ad-libs, they just come back to me. It'll be a song that I like haven't heard in years, and as soon as it comes on, I'm hitting every ad-lib in every run, and I'm like, oh shoot, because like, yeah, they matter and they're fun.
They matter.
Yes.
They can make a song. They can push it over the top. Okay, so this 60 seconds of motivation is going to be based on faith. Now, it can stem from where your faith stems from, but I want you to give the listener 60 seconds of motivation regarding faith, where your faith comes from, possibly where their faith might be headed, whatever that may be, and your clock starts now.
Okay, I was introduced to the concept of faith in church. I grew up a Christian, and faith is the substance of things hoped for, and I'm trying to remember this verse. Faith is but anyway, basically, faith is belief without seeing. Believing something is true or will happen without having any basis for your reasoning, other than you just believe it will come to pass. And some people will call it like manifesting, like things. I've had some crazy faith stories in my life where God will show me time and time again. Even just this weekend, I've been hoarse like crazy. I was so worried about this performance, and I prayed and I said, "Okay, Lord, I believe, and I don't know how or why I believe. In a few hours when I have to sing, I'm going to have the voice to sing." And sure enough, I did that whole it ended up being 4 hours and 45 minutes worth of singing with some breaks. But like my voice held up, and it came through clearly and better than I could have ever imagined I was going to be able to sing that night. And I just attribute that to the faith that I don't know how it's going to happen, but come time tonight when it's time for me to open my mouth and sing, I'm going to have what I need. And that's how I feel like faith works. Faith is just like believing. Obviously, you have to put some work. Faith without works is dead. That's another verse in the Bible. So you can't, sit there and be like, I believe that I'm going to walk out that door. Like there is something to be said with hard work and stuff. But if you have hard work and no faith, the two go hand in hand together. Faith and works, and you're on your way. So I don't know. I hope that helps somebody.
You're so motivational.
Okay, thank you.
You're so motivational.
I don't want to cut in and be like, oh, yeah, I should have said this. What did I want to say? I think it's important to not forget those instances in your life where you believed for a thing and you're like, oh my God, it happened. Mm-hmm. Because it's easy to forget, and especially in the times where you need faith the most, that's when it's the hardest to remember all of the faith, the times that faith proved to be to work. Mm-hmm. So maybe something that I'm going to try at least, and something you can try too, is to think of all the instances in your life, or not all, because that might be overwhelming to try and think of all, but think of some instances in your life where you had faith about a thing and then it worked out. And then use that in your time of doubt, because believe me, I know about times of doubt. Look at that list and be like, remember this, and then when faith works again, add to the list and keep a log, right? So I think that's a good practice. I've heard of people doing it, and that's something that I'm going to do now, starting today. I'm going to do that, and I think that would be a helpful thing for whoever is over there watching you to do.
Hey, you over there. Yeah. Would you consider that positive reinforcement?
Positive reinforcement for your faith? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's exactly why you should do it.
Which is, in a nutshell, I consider that faith, where it's like, there are no guarantees here, but I know if I just remain here, remain faithful, good things happen.
Right.
Ashley Dubose.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Ashley Dubois.
Dubois. Ashley Dubois. Get it right. That's my French speaking. He, ho, ho, ho.
When I make my first million, I'm going to change my name to Ashley Dubois.
Dubois.
But for now, I call myself Ashley Dubose.
Where can people find you?
You can go to ashleydubose.com. It's ASHLEYDUBOSE.com. And there's links to all my social media.
Sign up for her newsletter. She actually has a consistent newsletter that I typically delete newsletters. I check out yours.
Thank you.
You're like one of 3 that I check out.
It's been on my to-do list. I need to go send a letter to my folks. It's called Ashley Says. And I put updates for shows. And
we'll put the podcast on too. Yeah, we'll put this episode on there too.
Nice, yes, I certainly will. Good content.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much.
Why you're not like them, but it takes a special kind of you to see life the way you do. Yeah, that you can search the world high and low. There will never be another you, no, no, no. And it's hard, I know, 'cause you've got a heart of gold, but you just want the world to know it's okay to be you. You are different. You ain't like none of them. You got your own swag, your own style, your own thing, and baby, that's cool. It's written in the stars. You're supposed to be who you are. So do your thing, do your thing, do you. It's okay to be you. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Second verse is dedicated to you. You life of the party, leader of the crew. No one knows what you hide deep down inside in order to survive. Sometimes it's hard, I know, 'cause you've got a heart of gold, but you can't let them feel it show. It's okay to be you. You are different. You ain't like none of them. You got your own swag, your own style, your own thing, and baby, that's cool. It's written in the stars. You're supposed to be who you are. So do your thing, do your thing, do you. It's okay to be you. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, do your thing, yeah. Do your thing, 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 do you. It's okay to be you, 'cause you are different. You ain't like none of them. You got your own